Auburn in that one. Well, the Tigers lead the series 50-37 with a 22-17 edge here in T-Town. Both teams split last season, winning on each other's home floor, and this is what Coach Terry Flanoy is going with here. Alexander McKay, Jackson Jones, and Thompson, the starting five, and Auburn does control the opening tip, and we are underway here in T-Town. Lewis, Cook, Wade, Bolton, and Williams, the starting five for Christy Curry and Alabama. And she said, hey, I'm not going to go with my seniors tonight in terms of the starting five. I'm going to go with my best players.
No question. She knows how important this ball game is, and those seniors will be properly honored in a ceremony after the ball game. When it's in between the lines, you're going to put the best players out there, and regardless of what their classification is. But no surprise from either team here with the start. The same five starters we've seen a majority of the SEC season. Alabama started out in man. Auburn with that patented zone that everybody knows about.
Quick jumper. The miss for Deja Alexander. She'll try again. It rolls off, and Hannah Cook on the move. So a couple empty possessions early on for both teams, and that one almost thrown away. Shot is up off the mark for Shaq-Wade.
Offensive opportunities like that for Alabama in transition, they've got to capitalize on. You're not having to play against Auburn's defense, which is one of the best in the country. You've got to find a way. Another opportunity right here. They've got numbers 3-on-2. You've got to make them pay in those situations. Lewis can't finish, and Hannah Cook is fouled as she tries to go up and put in two. There's a look at Christy Curry in her 5th season. The 6 seniors on her team who have done some amazing things in their time with the Tide, and she hopes that that trend can certainly continue by finishing strong down the stretch and maybe getting into that NCAA tournament for the first time in 19 years. A really big deal, not just for these seniors, but for this Alabama program, which has a lot of tradition, you know, a lot of winning here in the postseason fashion in the 90s, a trip to the Final Four, a trip to the Sweet 16. These fans and these young ladies and Coach Curry are hungry to resurrect that. Last time Alabama went to the NCAA tournament was back in 1999. Got bounced in the second round. Of course, a team that went to the Final Four in 1994, all under head coach Rick Moody. Coach Moody, he did some winning here in Tuscaloosa. You know a little bit about Coach Moody. You saw that defensive pressure applied by the Tide, and it's cost a couple of seconds off the clock here for Auburn. Yeah, not a surprise for Auburn to see Alabama pressing a little bit. Both teams are very capable defensively for different reasons. Back in that zone again. I think that you'll see Alabama be patient. The assistant coach, or associate head coach Curry, I guess I should say, really talked about Alabama once they broke the press, looking for a great shot. Don't settle. And that's Kelly Curry. We're talking about 4 seconds on the shot clock here for Cook, and she's really working. Gives it up to her point guard, and that is going to be a shot clock violation. So both of these teams, I don't know if they're just remembering how the last matchup started when Nene Bolton got out firing on all cylinders, knocking down the first 12 points for Alabama back in January, but up to a sluggish start here this afternoon. Definitely a little bit more of a defensive battle than an offensive battle, regardless of when you look at these two teams. That certainly has kind of been a calling card of both of them, especially Auburn. Coach Flo talked about passing. It has to be crisp. It has to be good. Better there, and it nets 2 for the Tigers. That's going to make Coach Flo happy right there, seeing Unique Thompson get 2 points in the paint. Oh, heads up, our first rebound. Hey, where you didn't have my back on that one. Well, you did kind of, a little bit. It came in hot, so. It did come in a little hot. We got to keep our hands ready. We do. Over here, Melissa. We do. We've got the inbound play here right in front of us. Over at the broadcast table. You see that pressure here again. Double team on Wade. And Cook. Tigers did a really good job on Cook. First time they played. No question. She was, it's played exactly the way you would expect her to versus Tennessee. However, she shot the ball really, really well. And versus a zone, you really need your shooters to make a difference. You need your shooters and your rebounders to come through. And so I really expect to see Hannah have a big game today. She's got to be aggressive. And right now, the sluggish start for Alabama, they've been a little bit passive, I think, in the half court. They need to have a little bit more attack, a little bit more purposeful offense. Shot is up. Nene Bolton, no.
And the offensive rebound is there. Shaq Wade, who was very busy on the glass against Tennessee. She just seemed like she was all over the place. Then you look down at the stat sheet. It was only 2 rebounds, but it felt like a heck of a lot more.
They were impactful. Those 2 really made a big difference. All of her stats, it wasn't SEC Player of the Week type stats,
sure,
but they were plays that made a difference in the ball game.
So another opportunity here on this end for the Tide. Shot is up. Jordan Lewis, no. Shaq Wade flying in once again for the offensive rebound. Hannah Cook thought about pulling the trigger, and will utilize the shot clock here. Bolton, nice.
Wow.
Pass inside, and that is a shot to the face. My goodness. Right in traffic.
Great movement without the ball, though. The flash in the middle of the paint, you know, anywhere, anytime versus a zone, you can get the ball across that SEC logo. You can see it right there. A good aggressive catch, and the defender just comes in a little bit late.
It was Ashley Williams, who has missed 1 game, I believe, due to concussion protocol earlier this year already. So not a good sign for Christy Curry and company.
Absolutely not. Ashley Williams is one of these seniors that has meant so much to the success of this program. This group of seniors, as you mentioned already, who've done so many things to resurrect the program to where it once was. They are not their best selves without Ashley Williams on the floor, though. Hopefully she can shake it off and get back in the ball game.
So she will take a seat on the bench. She did not have her best game against Auburn back in January. Only scored 6 points in that one. But for Alabama, they're a team that really anybody can step up on any given night. And in particular, that day, it was Nene Bolton.
Definitely. So she started the game so hot in Auburn. It was fun to watch. It was fun, and we talked about it, just to say Nene over and over again. It's a fun name to say. And she's an impact player for them, can really spread the defense out, is built for play in the paint in the SEC. You see Ashley Williams there. Might have just had a contact get dislodged or something. Let's hope for that, because it's going to be a better matchup with her on the floor.
And Janae McKay, by the way, got called for the last foul, the push. 2 turnovers for Alabama, 2 for the Tigers so far in the early going. And not a lot to show on the scoreboard, as Williams still working on that contact.
No, not yet. But they're both teams that are subject to offensive droughts, and they're also teams that are subject to go on big runs. Auburn's runs usually are keyed by their defense.
Nate Thompson, turnaround shot, and gets it to fall. Just a freshman, but has become such a force inside for the Tigers. Good bounce pass. Good ball movement for Alabama. Miss Shaq Wade.
I'd really like to see Alabama be a little bit more aggressive, especially when they pass across half court. When they're getting it across, keep attacking, not throw backwards and set the offense. I think they need a little bit more tempo in the half court. But I think Auburn's getting the shots that they want so far.
So the good defense already. That's the bread and butter for the Auburn Tigers as you look at their ranks. Number 1 in the SEC in steals, 2nd in the country, 1st in the SEC in turnovers forced, 4th in the country. I mean, those are some really incredible numbers.
They are big numbers, and that's what Coach Flo, what she coaches to. That's the message when you're recruited here. It's the message that you hear every day in practice. We've had the privilege of sitting in 2 of the shoot-arounds, and she talks about defense, and their offense is going to be a byproduct of that defense.
And a bump here. Jordan Lewis was about to get hot and get loose. Erica Sanders will be called.
Way to beat the Lady Vols the past few matchups, and so beating Tennessee has kind of become old hat for them. Winning in Knoxville, obviously, though, that was a first.
Yeah, I think after that game, it was Christy Curry has Holly Warlick's number. She has beaten Holly Warlick 4 straight times.
That's a pretty impressive stat, just to have that consistency against such a good program, such a talented group of coaches and women that they have there at Tennessee. But right now, the Tide are only worried about the next 4 minutes and 55 seconds of this quarter. They need to put some points on the board, get some momentum going.
Well, every one of these final 3 matchups huge, because that win at Tennessee got Alabama back in the conversation for the postseason. And they somewhat control their own destiny right now.
They absolutely do. And we talked about this the last time Alabama and Auburn played, which was the beginning of February. There's so much opportunity in the SEC to improve that NCAA tournament resume almost every week. So this is a big chance here. Travel there. But this is a big chance here for Alabama to protect their home court. Then they've got Georgia and LSU, two postseason teams for sure that they get a chance to go and play and match up against and continue to prove the NCAA tournament committee that they deserve to be there.
So another turnover for Alabama. That's 4 for the Tide, 3 so far for Auburn. And you got to give Christy Curry credit for her coaching staff and the way they're able to maneuver in and out of defenses.
They do a great job of that, and also while we've seen mostly man from them so far, it's kind of been a containment man. They've been given a step. Auburn is not one of the better three-point shooting teams in the SEC.
Well, you talked about that remaining schedule for the Crimson Tide, and it's, of course, you love it if you're Christy Curry because of the high RPI opportunities with Georgia and LSU. And then if they can stay the course, Coach, potentially play Kentucky, getting a first-round bye in the SEC tournament.
That's big. Anytime you can get a bye in that tournament, it's tremendous. And then when you get a chance in your first round to play another top 100 RPI team, you just continue to improve that NCAA tournament resume. They've got LSU, although it's at LSU, which not many people have been able to go there and win. They beat LSU Tigers earlier this year, so her squad's got to feel good about that. But again, first things first, we've got to be where our feet are right now, and right now they've got to take care of business in Tuscaloosa.
So that last tournament appearance was in '99, as I mentioned. Beat Grambling and lost to North Carolina in the second round. Ashley Williams, by the way, checked back in for the Crimson Tide. She is looking A-OK out here on the court in Coleman Coliseum. 3:43 remaining. 6-4 matchup. Very low scoring affair.
It'll be interesting to see how this game evolves and develops. But if we were right now trying to make predictions, I think a low-scoring ball game is in Auburn's favor.
And Shaq Wade.
Again, you kind of see Alabama going with the control in the half court, slowing things down, getting the ball back in Jordan Lewis's hands, which makes everybody on their team and coaching staff really, really confident. Jordan does a great job of running this squad. But they seem to be, being really specific and deliberate about what the shots that they're looking for.
4 seconds on the shot clock. That was a good look. The offensive rebound is there, and Hannah Cook finally getting involved.
That's definitely something that makes Alabama confident as a unit. Hannah and Ashley have been the two leaders for this program in scoring and rebounding almost their entire careers here in Crimson. And them making plays is going to make everyone around them believe that today's outcome is going to be positive.
Sometimes you just have to see one shot fall.
It helps. It definitely helps.
8 seconds on the shot clock. It's almost stolen away. Deja Alexander, and she has been fairly money when she's gotten those looks. Those open looks, she had one there.
She definitely did. She's a scorer. She's a scorer for Auburn. That's what they expect her to do, put the ball in the hole. Not necessarily always from the three-point line, and the three-point line was a big difference in the first matchup for Auburn.
Blocking foul there. Wednesday night, we'll take you to Auburn Arena for the Iron Bowl of basketball. Alabama takes on number 10 Auburn. Catch that at 8:30 Eastern right here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. And, of course, Auburn, the Tigers, rolling right now, not just in talks and contention for the SEC championship, but for the national championship as well. But you know why this is such a good game, Coach? Because Alabama beat Auburn earlier this year. So it's a little payback time. We'll see how that goes down.
No question.
Epic matchup for sure.
The bottom line is there's some good college basketball that's being played in this state this year on both the men's and women's side. Again, Alabama, when you look at the stats, has already scored 5 points, 5 of their 7, now 6 of their 8 from the free throw line.
5 Auburn fouls already in this matchup.
That is definitely Jordan Lewis at the free throw line is something that the Tide would like to see happen over and over again. She does a great job of drawing contact. We actually talked to Coach Curry a little bit about that in shoot-around, that we can't allow Jordan Jones to put us – talk to Coach Flo about it. Can't let Jordan Jones, if we get on the side of her, then she's going to draw fouls. She's great at that.
Yeah, that was a big-time block there for the Crimson Tide and Ashley Knight. She's got 52 blocks. Make that 53 on the season. 7 seconds on the shot clock. Deja Alexander's working. Lewis up and is fouled.
I think they called that foul before she got to Ashley. That would be on Cook. And, you know, Hannah fouled out of the game in Knoxville. They need her to make good decisions, keeping her hands off those dribble drives. Her presence on the floor, as we already talked about, makes everybody around her more confident. And they need her on the floor. They don't need her cheering from the benches. I'm sure she's a great job, does a great job there. But her leadership on the floor is much more valuable.
So Tiffany Lewis, redshirt senior from Chattanooga. Clemson transfer at the line, 81% free throw shooter. That's a kid, you talk about, if you're Coach Flo, you know, getting somebody else to step up besides your normal two. She had 5 players in double figures. Tiffany Lewis was one of them. Dropped in 3 triples against the Tide back in January.
There's definitely a big difference in the game. Tiffany can really shoot the ball, no question about that. And Coach Flo talks about every time we've had conversations with her, our bench has got to give us something. It doesn't always have to be points, but points sure are nice.
Right.
3-point shooting, though, is definitely a way that Tiffany can elevate her team's chances here today.
Frank Sterator, Amy Bonner, and Douglas Snyder, officials today, have been quite active. We had quite a few fouls called already. It's back into play. And from Knight into the hands of Tiffany Lewis. And she's going to pop it from the elbow. And Bama with the basketball and keeping on her feet. Jordan Lewis will split the defenders and draw the foul.
There we go. That's Jordan Lewis doing Jordan Lewis things right there. For those of you who follow Alabama and SEC basketball, she's great at that. Very strong, great body control. She has good timing and good instincts. And I like this instinct right here. Don't let Auburn set that defense up. Take it to the rim, go until you're stopped, and either score the basket or put them in position to foul you.
So Lewis picks up the foul. That is her second. Unique Thompson back inside the matchup now. And they really need her on the floor. You know, you obviously got to give her a breather. She did play 36 minutes in the last matchup against Alabama, but she is such a huge force on the boards.
She definitely is, and she also has got them really secured on the low block offensively. I think she's 2 for 2 from right where they want her to score from, and that's different. That's a difference maker when you're a team that struggles a little bit offensively in the half court. You can see her down there. That's a great matchup. Unique versus Ashley on the low block.
Going high off the glass, Janiyah McKay. And those are typically shots that she makes. She doesn't miss often. Senior from Gainesville, Florida.
You have to credit Ashley Knight for that. She didn't get the block that time, but she made Janiyah think about it a little too much and didn't finish, because you're right. That is typical Janiyah McKay offense right there.
Under 40 seconds here in the first quarter of action remaining. And a host of Alabama defenders surrounding Unique Thompson, who is fouled.
Another Alabama defensive strategy that we got a peek at in the Tennessee game. They sent 2 and doubled and stunted, and Mercedes Russell, and were fairly effective with that strategy with her, and not surprising to see them employing that again tonight versus Unique, but that time just got a little too aggressive with it. Contact on the shot.
It will be assessed to Mio Knight this time, a senior from Morgan City, Louisiana. Unique Thompson, just a 55% free throw shooter. Again, just a freshman from Theodore, Alabama.
One of the better freshmen in this league. She's been freshman player of the week twice already. And as we highlighted in the opening, 6 double-doubles so far this year.
6 double-doubles.
Not bad for a freshman.
No, it's pretty good, considering nobody else on the team has that number. And Auburn gets the ball back.
Now that's Auburn defense right there. That's what they want to see happen.
Timeout called by Coach Flo. And you saw Erica Sanders had number 3, had the basketball for Auburn. She did not play in the first matchup between these two teams. Missed, I believe it's 9 games due to a foot injury. So it's good to see her back, because offense, Auburn, a make-miss team, if you will. You look at the positives in Auburn's loss to Missouri, which was their last matchup earlier this week. Forced the 24th turnover, so that's their average, right? The 22 offensive rebounds. But boy, Missouri shoots lights out from three-point range. They did hold them to 5 there. And what a huge win for Missouri as we continue to talk about that team today.
No question.
Against Tennessee.
Those stats, you know, were certainly some positives for Auburn. A lot of them defensive. The last category there as we go here into the end of the quarter, their field goal percentage though continues to plague them. You can see there a quick statistical recap of the quarter. That turnover number is definitely something Auburn wants to see. That rebounding number is something Alabama definitely wants to see. But the field goals for both teams, I hope we make a few more baskets here going in the second quarter, Melissa, just to be honest with you.
Well, this will tell you everything you need to know. Auburn shooting 28% the first quarter of play. Alabama shooting 9% from the floor.
Auburn forcing another turnover as they do. That's not the out of timeout response that Coach Curry was hoping for. But definitely a high percentage shot there for Unique. I know that's what Auburn wants to see is her getting touches and attempts in the paint. I think she's 2 of 3 now when she gets the ball in that area.
Hannah Cook for 3, fires, yes! And I say that because if you're the senior, that's what you need to see right now to feel confident about your stroke.
And the crowd erupts. That's what everybody wanted to see today here in pink and also in crimson. They want to see Hannah Cook hit shots. They want to see the senior that has led them in scoring the past 3 seasons lead the way.
And there she is fighting for the rebound. Gets it, leaves Deja Alexander behind. So down a man, and that's going to fall for Jordan Lewis. And finally, this Alabama crowd gets into it.
That's going to make everybody who's here for Alabama happy. Not just Jordan's 3, but defense rebound by Hannah Cook. She's one of their better ball handlers. Them getting some transition points, some fast break points. Don't let Auburn set the defense up. You can see that Jordan was wide open because of that early offense, and she made him pay by leaving her open.
7 points for Cook, 7 points for Jordan Lewis. And now Ashley Williams with the basketball. Bama working in the half court.
Would love
baseline, double team, but it didn't matter. Ashley Williams split the defense and gets it to fall. Huge. They got a chance to get into their offensive rhythm, but we're starting to see that now for the Crimson Tide.
Definitely. You mentioned the fans. Well, the players finally gave them something to cheer about. They, you know, a couple of big plays in transition, as you mentioned, a couple of threes there, one from Hannah and one from Jordan. And coming right out of that timeout and continuing to do what they practice. And I tell you what, one of the other stats, and we haven't talked a whole lot about rebounding, but so far Alabama is dominating the glass, both ends of the floor, offensive and defensive. If my count is correct, they had 15 total rebounds after that last break, and then they got 2 offense rebounds just on that possession alone.
Largest lead of the game for Alabama. Took a couple of members of this Tide team to get that last shot in, but it's all about teamwork. And as you mentioned, the rebounding was there. Great second effort for Alabama. As you see, started 0 for 9 from the floor. Since then, 5 for 8. And you can add to that stat there, Shaq Wade getting involved.
Shaq is not necessarily someone that you put in the shooter category, but I tell you, she is definitely one of those competitors that she seems to hit timely threes. She definitely seems to make the big plays from the three-point line when the Crimson Tide need them. And they've got a couple of candidates that fall into that category. We already mentioned Nene Bolton. Of course, we expect that. We've come to expect that from Hannah and Jordan. But it's fun to see different folks making plays today for the Crimson Tide.
Well, that's another miss for Janiah McKay, who has not scored at all in this game. And that is Auburn's leading scorer.
Yeah, that is not a good sign so far for Auburn. And again, if Coach Flo was sitting here with us, I tell you what she would say. She wouldn't talk about Janiah, whether she's scoring or not. She'd say, we're going to play better defense. If we play better defense, then we're going to get the looks that we want. We're going to get the offensive production that we want. And definitely right now, not happening. And then Deja heard me and she hit a 3.
She did. Found her stroke from the corner.
Right.
Sophomore from Decatur, Georgia. She averages 13 points per game. Behind McKay, second on the team in that category. Nene Bolton all alone on the baseline. Draws the foul.
Great answer right here from kind of a slow first quarter, and credit Hannah Cook, the senior, for getting that going right there. I love her presence on the board. Offensive putbacks, the assist right there in transition. We already talked about how they rely on her as a ball handler as well, but then that is Hannah Cook being Hannah Cook. Get her some space behind the three-point line, and she's going to knock it down. She's one of those kids that's capable of hitting 5, 6, 7 threes in a ball game.
She's got 7 points so far here today. Lewis with 7, and Wade so far with 7. Cook averaging 11 points on the season. She is the leading scorer, so that number seems a little bit low. But if you're Christy Curry, you're okay with that because it's really they spread the wealth.
They do. They have great balance. And, you know, as we were getting ready for this second matchup and was kind of reading up of some of the things that Coach Curry really likes to see out of her squad. And, you know, she doesn't really care for one player to score 25 or 30 a game, but she wants to see 4 players in double figures and really feels like they can play with anybody in the league when that happens.
So Auburn, a team that doesn't get down when they're down in matchups at all. They're a very resilient bunch. 5 newcomers on this squad for Coach Flo. They did come back and bounce back in the matchup when they were down early to the Tide back in January. Again, Nene Bolton came out on scoring the first 12 points of the game. It was 10-2 early on, and then second quarter, totally different ball game. Auburn came roaring back.
Absolutely, and again, I think that's very typical of Auburn because of the way they play defense. It's so overwhelming at times. We talked about this earlier in the broadcast that you'll see them score in bunches because of what their defense is creating on the other end.
Janiah McKay finally sees the bottom of the net here today. Drops in a triple. Hopefully a sign of things to come for the junior.
No question she's going to keep shooting it. She knows that her team needs her to score for them to be successful. I think she's just going to be really selective about when she chooses to try and create her own offense, but she's going to take advantage of any opportunity from the three-point line if she can see the rim.
Hannah Cook from way downtown. That rims off. And McKay pushing, always looking ahead, trying to push in transition.
Definitely. And I tell you what, Alabama has kind of picked up their defensive pressure. They started off the ball game a little bit more sagging and giving them a step, and they're getting out and really pressuring the ball a little bit more, trying to be a little bit more intentionally disruptive.
And when that look maybe isn't there in transition, they do have Unique Thompson, who was able to drop in that last bucket. She has, so far in this game, been a huge bright spot for Coach Flo.
No
Having
question.
that player down low is huge.
It really is. And there's Nene. We've been waiting for Nene to show up, and there she is. It definitely makes a big difference. As many dynamic guards, really talented guards, future professional guards as there are in this league, it's still a league that is very much about the paint. And you've got to have post play that helps you control the paint. And Unique, there you go, great second effort right there. The double-double queen on this team.
Getting her own miss. Nicely done by the freshman. She is going to be a sensational player. She already is now, but down the stretch, she continues to improve in this system. And the ball will belong to Alabama. A Monday Night SEC Insight gives you an all-access pass to Tennessee and Missouri basketball for never-before-seen footage and sounds from the season so far. Inside the Vols at 9 Eastern, followed by the Tigers at 9:30 only on the SEC Network and on the ESPN app. Of course, Missouri won the last matchup between the two teams back on January 17th, 59-55.
Jordan Lewis back in the ball game. Coach Curry doesn't really feel as confident when she's not on the floor, and the Tide really had turned the ball over there, and Unique Thompson stepped out of bounds, and Coach took the opportunity to get her point guard back on the floor and give her team what they need to have their best shot against this Auburn press.
So a fight for the basketball. Shaq Wade steps out of bounds, a turnover, and Auburn will have it. And you get those threes to start falling. If you're the Auburn Tigers, you get right back in this game.
No question, no question. You know, I think the hard part is that's not necessarily something that they're gonna draw up is points from the three-point line. But Alabama, you see, as we talked about earlier, mixing up their defenses, going to a little bit of zone right here, trying to keep Auburn off balance.
Ooh, very pretty shot from Deja Alexander. So that's actually back-to-back triples for the Tigers.
I like it. I like it. I think that the slow start was not going to be an indicator of what we're going to see here the rest of these competitive moments between these two guys.
So the Tigers have cut the lead now, the Tide lead, I should say, to 2, 27-25. Bama hot to start this second quarter of play. And the ball Out of bounds, thrown away, and it will stay on this end with a tie.
Alabama, let's see what they do. Not a super short shot clock, but when you're going against a low shot clock versus a really good defensive team like Auburn, that shot clock seems to fly by sometimes.
Jordan Lewis on the move, really fighting, and with that pressure, turns it over. A fresh shot clock for the Tigers. Janiah McKay saw an opening and took it. Now Shaq Wade with a rebound on the move, and she is fouled.
Again with the fouls.
We were doing so good to start this quarter.
Yeah, we definitely thought they had cleaned it up a little bit, but I think that Alabama realizes, you know, versus pressure, one of the things that we've got to do, especially when that pressure comes in the form of a one-on-one matchup like we just saw right there with Shaq Wade, keep your foot on the gas, make them guard you.
So for the Auburn Tigers, Janiah McKay, their leading scorer, who averages 16 points per game. She's only got 3, but she just picked up her 3rd foul. And we're about 2:40 before the half.
Not a great indicator. However, Coach Flo really preaches team defense all the time. And they'll definitely miss Janiah on the offensive end. I will too. I like watching her play.
Right.
You know, she's definitely just a really positive spirit, and you know, her energy is always so good. It's fun to watch competitors that embody that. But in terms of points for Auburn when they are in a half-court situation, that definitely is going to be missing for them. We'll see if Deja takes up the slack here, if Unique takes up the slack. Got Tiffany back in the ballgame, who we already talked about. We know she's subject to go on a run from the three-point line. But you also see Alabama switching back to man again.
And Alexander here running the point. And that pass intercepted, telegraphed. It was intended for Unique Thompson. And now Alabama trying to capitalize.
You can see one of the strategies that Alabama has versus this zone, which is very big at the top. You've got Jones up there. She's big, she's long. A lot of ball screens to try to relieve a little bit of that pressure off your point guard. When you've got a 4-player like Bolton who's in there and can pick and pop, hopefully you spread the top of their zone a little bit more, and that opens up the paint, that opens up the corners and the baselines a little bit.
Deja's been hot from that corner, decided to try from that side, didn't get it to fall, but a couple of misses, a couple of offensive rebounds, and finally it's Jasmine Jones who draws the foul.
That's what Coach Flo wants to see out of Jazz Jones. She doesn't necessarily plays out of her. Get the offensive rebounds, keep the ball alive as an offensive rebounder, and then when you get an opportunity like this one, step up to the free throw line and capitalize.
Now, she is efficient when she's shooting. She only averages the 5 points per game, but she is shooting 50% from the floor. From the free throw line, not so good, a 53% free throw shooter. We've got 1:36 remaining before the half, and you want to stick around for the halftime segment. Nell Fortner will share her latest Nell Yes, and Andy Landers takes us to Andy Land. If you had your little saying, if you did a little halftime, what would it be?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not near as creative and clever as Coach Landers or Nell. I'll leave that to them and just see what I can continue to learn from those two legends.
Okay, I'll see what I can come up with maybe at the half point. All that and more stats and highlights at the half. An offensive foul is called. Now check that. That's going to be a turnover. So let's take a look at the replay here.
A tip by Jazz Jones.
It's out of bounds.
She just falls forward. Good job right there. Good composure by Auburn, not fouling. It's so easy to get too aggressive in those situations and reach or do something. You don't need to do that.
12-2 Auburn run. Deja Alexander trying to add to it. She's a man down. Jordan Lewis with speed and a little too much speed. Ball out of bounds. A little bit of ball control issues.
Yeah, I like the push. I really like the tempo there that Jordan was trying to initiate. At the same time, you've got to make sure that you're not overdoing it a little bit. Don't cross that threshold into too much.
So a tied matchup here. After what was a slow start for both of these teams, Nene Bolton will try it just outside the elbow and gets it to fall.
A great spot to get the ball versus Auburn's defense. on the elbows at the SEC logo. Every player on Alabama's team can knock down those shots. And, you know, definitely got to make good passes when you're trying to set those things up. But Nene definitely capitalizes on that opportunity.
Under a minute remaining. Foul underneath.
Jazz Jones being aggressive again. And basically just taking what Alabama's given her. If you pay attention, especially when Alabama's in man and the way they're defending Jazz, they're not guarding her. They're really giving her a lot. So give her credit for recognizing that and going, hey, there's a reason I'm out here. There's a reason I play as many minutes as I do, and they're not all defensive reasons. Let's make some plays.
Shaq Wade picks up her second foul. And it's Jones back at the free throw line. Hannah Cook will check back in. The final 39.4 seconds before the half.
Couple of runs really has been the story of this first half so far. Slow start for both teams. Kind of goes a little bit towards Auburn, comes back towards Alabama. Auburn answers, and here we go. Basically tied, about to finish up the first half of competition.
Very similar to what we saw back in January before these two teams.
No doubt. And here they are with an opportunity to press. This is definitely the way that Auburn would want to end the half, is to be on the defensive end.
Forced a rush shot by Amy Bolton, who had a nice open look for three. And now Auburn may have the ball for the final time here before the half.
You would think definitely they would want to go into the locker room with the last shot. Again, Alabama's showing man again. I think Auburn would love to get the ball in the low block to Unique Thompson right here for that to be the way that they end the half. And how about a free throw jumper from Unique? That's not a bad way to take it to the locker room for the Auburn Tigers.
He is playing very well right now. Unique Thompson with 11 points so far. The freshman adding to her stat line.
They were timely. They were big plays. Those threes for Alabama really got the crowd into it. And if you will remember, Melissa, in Auburn, when the Tigers beat the Tide, they went 5 of 9 from the three-point line, which was a really good shooting night for them, and they're knocking on the door again.
And you got to give credit to what was the worst team in the SEC last year at the free throw line, which was Alabama. Auburn with 9 fouls so far in this game. It sent Alabama to the free throw line quite a few times. They are perfect at the charity stripe this afternoon.
Yeah, 10 of 10 so far. And when you've scored 29 points, and 10 of those points have come from the free throw line, I should say. You know, that's a big difference makers when you start looking at those add up now over this half. We'll see if Auburn had a conversation at all about fouling at halftime. I would imagine that Coach Flo touched on that.
And we should also mention that Janiah McKay, the leading scorer for the Tigers, picked up her 3rd foul late in the second quarter.
So they replaced her in the starting lineup here this half with Tiffany Lewis, again, which gives them another offensive weapon. She doesn't quite have the numbers that Janiah does, but she's capable, especially from the three-point line.
That ball just gets away from Alexander. Shaq Wade with it now.
Again, you see Alabama kind of going with, let's set it up, let's run some offense. They're attacking early, and if they don't see what they want, usually meaning numbers or an early, easy opportunity in the form of a layup, they're pulling it out and setting it up and trying to get those paint touches, which we saw right there, but you got to convert them. But Auburn, dadgummit, if you're going to let them have 3 shots, something bad's going to happen for you.
And what has happened for them today is that they're going to the free throw line. And as we mentioned, they've been sensational there today. And we should say that was also a key for them in winning that game at Tennessee, was getting to the free throw line down late into the game and converting on those opportunities and not leaving those points wasted, if you will.
Yeah, no question. They were 14 of 16 in Knoxville. And these ball games in the SEC, this time of year in the SEC with so much on the line, a lot of them are going to be single possession games. So 1 point versus getting 2 points from the free throw line is a big deal, or fouling someone and giving them a chance to score points at the free throw line is a really big deal.
And the Crimson Tide had a guest speaker, not just any guest speaker, but a pretty famous guest speaker.
Ball player.
Shamika Holtzclaw in the house, speaking to the Tide players here today, just kind of giving them a pep talk in preparation for this rivalry matchup. And again, knowing what's at stake. You got to beat Auburn, and then you got to win at least one of the 2 remaining games after this to really have a shot at, you know, getting 8-8 even in the SEC, which looks better to the committee.
It does. That 8-8 mark in conference play in this league, typically you get it, you're rewarded with an at-large bid for that if you don't win the tournament. So that's a big marker to get to. Definitely teams have gotten in with less than 8-8, but that's certainly to aspire to, and that makes the committee really talk more about you and keep your name on the board for more reasons.
Right now, Alabama's 6-7 in the SEC. The Tigers 4-9. Auburn trying to get into the WNIT. Wade thought about it. Great pass. Backdoor, and the foul is called. Ashley Williams going up strong. And she is a 77% free throw shooter, and you might as well make it automatic for the Crimson Tide here today.
Yeah, no question. And again, Auburn has got to do a better job of not allowing those penetrating passes. They threw the ball right in the heart of that zone right there. Again, credit Ashley. You see, she found the spot, and then Shaq Wade found her. And again, that's a little bit of senior basketball right there, too. A little bit of wisdom, using the scout, using what you know is going to hurt Auburn the most. And then just like we talked a minute ago, and then stepping up to the free throw line and making them pay.
Well, the Tide this year, early on, worked on a drill called climbing the ladder at the free throw line. All 14 players gather in a circle around the free throw line, take turns shooting free throws 2 at a time, and the drill is not complete until the team combines to make 21 of 28 attempts. It has paid off dividends here down the stretch, as this is a team trying to get to the NCAA tournament for the first time in 19 years, and that is a huge stat for this team. Right now, that was the only miss, that last shot for the Crimson Tide here from the free throw line, 13 for 14 here this afternoon.
Yeah, you know, neither team just from the floor, when you just talk about straight up field goal percentage, is on fire. You know, so wherever you can get points from, you've got to make that happen. And the free throw line so far has been very, very good to Alabama. The thing Auburn's got to take a look at is we're in control of whether we foul someone or not.
Right.
So let's play with a little bit more discipline without backing off on that aggressive defense that we know we can play, and quit allowing them to score those type points.
Open look here for Alexander, and better passing for the Auburn Tigers. And that's the shot they net because of it. And a timeout called now by Christy Curry and the Crimson Tide. Auburn.
Guidance. She's one of those players that you kind of go, wow, however hard she's willing to work, that's how high her ceiling can be as you look at a career in a program like this, in a league like this.
And Coach Flo knew exactly what they were going to get from her, so no surprise that she is being sort of the breakout player of the season, but maybe how quickly she's come along, especially in SEC play.
No question. The impact, when you have a freshman who can make an impact in SEC play, they start to play their best basketball in SEC play, well, that's a great indicator of where that person's going to go in their career.
So back to the press for the Tigers. Janiah McKay still on the bench with her 3 personal fouls. The leading scorer for the Tigers, who has been a non-factor offensively for the team. Just 1 bucket this afternoon. Hannah Cook trying to drop in a 3. Nene Bolton there with the rebound. Another opportunity for the Tide, and it goes down for Ashley Williams.
Great multiple efforts there on the board by Alabama, and that's one of the downsides. If you are a zone team, which Auburn is, a lot of times then defensive rebounding, your defensive rebounding stats suffer, and Auburn's definitely do. They're close to the bottom, if not the bottom of the league in defensive rebounding. They can't give Alabama those easy second and third chance points.
Tigers trying to get another opportunity here. It's out of bounds. We'll stay with Auburn with 4 seconds remaining on the shot clock. Alabama back in the lead, 34-33.
Just 4 seconds here on the shot clock. You don't have to catch and shoot it, but if you get a good look, and I'm not sure if that qualified as a good look or not, but credit Alabama for not giving them a second chance. They collected that rebound. And that allows them to attack on their terms, not let Auburn get that defense set.
Pass almost stolen away, and this time it is. Here comes Jasmine Jones, strong to the hole, and gets it to fall.
I think Jasmine Jones is playing a really solid game for Auburn today. She's not someone that they expect a lot of offensive production out of, but she's being really aggressive. She's making the hustle plays that really have been her calling card as a player. But Alabama came right back down and answered. That's what they needed to see. They needed to see an aggressive offensive possession right there.
And from somebody a little bit different. That was Coco Knight with the bucket, her first of the game. Plays spotty minutes, averages about 3 points per game for the Tide. So leaving her open to produce. Here's a look at that steal.
Tiffany Lewis getting a hand on it. And I tell you, Auburn, they thrive off of those disruptive plays, the tips, not just a steal and a trap and the traditional turnovers, but the deflected passes. That really gives them energy.
So Mimi Bolton picked up her second foul on the last play. Janiah McKay back in the game with the basketball. And that shot was altered, and the foul is called. It was called late.
It was called late. However, it was called. And, you know, the thing that as a competitor, and certainly you talk about a lot of times in game planning when you think about discipline and how do we want to play this game, you talk a lot about turnovers and protecting the ball, but you also talk about not fouling jump shooters, especially a jump shooter like Janiah McKay.
Who is also an 85% free throw shooter. Wednesday night we'll take you to Auburn Arena for the Iron Bowl of basketball. Alabama taking on number 10 Auburn. Catch it at 8:30 Eastern right here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. That one will be epic for sure. Auburn looking for a little payback after the Tide was able to take down the Tigers earlier this season. Coco Knight. And Unique Thompson called for the foul as she was heading back to get on offense.
Yeah, we may need another
rebounder. And so far today has also been the leading scorer, or one of them, behind Deja Alexander. So Bama with a fresh shot clock and another opportunity to cash in.
It's interesting with Jasmine Jones out of the ball game, the way that Auburn adjusts that zone. They've got Erica Sanders now at the top of it, which is typically where Jasmine plays, and then Jasmine's sister is in. Not to get the two Jones sisters confused. She's in now playing the back of the zone.
Yeah, 22 and 15. They're identical twins, so good luck when their jerseys aren't on spotting the two.
Right.
It's the back iron, and flying in for the O board is one of the Jones sisters, as you mentioned.
Jessica. And that's what, we talked about it, and Coach Flo is really consistent with the things that are important to her and her messages. She wants production from the bench in any kind of form right there. Offensive rebound by Jessica Jones.
Oh, how about the athleticism by Coco Knight? And now Ashley Williams will try to convert, does not get the bounce there. Another opportunity, and you saw the relief on her face finally getting it through.
That is multiple effort right there. And I'm going to tell you what, that's the heart of a senior who says, listen, we're on our home floor. It's senior day, and I fully understand all the implications of what we're playing for here today.
Offensive foul is called. As away from the ball, Erica Sanders picks up her second personal foul. Footage and sounds from the season so far. Inside the Balls at 9 Eastern, followed by the Tigers at 9:30 Eastern, only on the SEC Network. So a low-scoring affair between these two in-state rivals, but it has been tight here down the stretch. Melissa Lee alongside Amanda Butler. And you look at the rebounding differential, Alabama winning that battle.
They definitely are. There's not a huge separation, but we talked about it already. This game is not going to be a blowout either way. It's going to be probably a single possession type finish. And so every point that Alabama can get from second chance efforts is really, really going to be magnified. And so far this second half, they've made it really, really important. Ashley Williams making her presence felt as a rebounder, which is something we all know she's very, very capable of. 12 points so far, second chance points for the Crimson Tide.
Jordan Lewis was wide open, and give all the credit there to Coco Knight with the assist.
Yeah, great patience that time by Alabama, really working for the shot that they want. Jordan, percentage-wise, is one of the best three-point shooters in this league, and making them pay. And like you said, Coco made that great diagonal pass across the zone to find the wide-open shooter.
And that gets the Auburn bounce. Goes in for Amari Jones.
I think Amari is one of those players that Coach Flo, and there's a few names on that list, she needs more from them in the scoring column. You can't have too many people with zeros in the total points column, especially in a game like this. It's going to be so close. Everybody's got to contribute.
She said in both matchups, needed some bench points. She got 22 against Alabama in their win last month. Definitely not hitting those numbers so far here today.
There we go, pass down to the baseline. Coco drawing the defense to her, penetrating and then kicking out to the shooter. And Jordan sitting there ready with her hands and feet set, and then also giving credit to her teammate after that for the assist. You know, that's the way that you want your energy to look like if you're going to play your best.
We mentioned the bench points, only 2 for Auburn, 2 for Alabama. And remember, Coach Flo told us she did shorten her roster in that Ole Miss matchup.
Yeah, definitely. You know, as it gets a little bit closer down to crunch time, you've got to play your most productive players. That's all that is. You know, who are the players that the combinations that we can put in at any given moment, they're going to give us our best chance. And a lot of times you may go from a 9 or 10 player rotation down to a 7 or 8 player rotation as you get to this part of the season.
And that was the Janiyah McKay we all know and love, who hit that last three-pointer coming off the bench after sitting most of this game with 3 personal fouls, which she picked up late in the second quarter of play. And now her team within 1.
There she is, just really in rhythm right there, stepped right into her shot, knocking it down. Again, made baskets, give Auburn the chance to press, which is what we know their bread and butter is. Unfortunately, fouling as they came down and got underneath the basket.
Bama shooting over 90% from the free throw line here this afternoon. Coco Knight is a 50% free throw shooter, but sinks the first.
You know, I think if we had said to Coach Flo, listen, Janiyah's not going to have a great first half. She's going to be in foul trouble. But in the third quarter, you're only going to be down 2. What do you think, Coach? She probably said, I'll take that, because I trust that Janiyah is going to always evolve throughout the game and produce the way that we know that she's going to. She's a really consistent ball player.
That last play really indicative of this matchup. Just tough, gritty, strong play. Wade draws the foul for Alabama to keep that possession. Good stuff.
A lot of extra effort plays right there. Coco Knight is really making a lot of hustle plays. She's scored the basketball a couple times, but she's just keeping it alive. Great pursuit. That keeps the crowd into it. I mean, this crowd, that's what they want to see, hustle. They want to see effort. And that's definitely what happened on that last free throw miss. On the other side of the coin, it's backbreaking to give up a free throw, an offensive free throw rebound. You've got the numbers down there. Make contact, hold your box outs, pursue the basketball, and head it down the other direction.
Well, Coco so far has impacted the game with 3 points, 3 rebounds, and an assist. That's a kid who, a senior, one of the 6 for the Crimson Tide, and played 1 minute against Tennessee. Didn't record any stats, but trying to make a difference here tonight.
A spark, giving them a spark.
Good ball movement again by Auburn.
You see Alabama has gone back to the zone again, continually switching things up. A little bit of a penetrate and pitch out right there.
Kick out to Jones, not able to convert, and it will be Alabama basketball.
And you love getting possession off of a missed shot. You'd like it to not be a dead ball rebound, though, so that Auburn doesn't get a chance to get everyone right where they want them to be. They've got somewhat of their traditional lineup back in here. Jasmine Jones back up in the front of that press, giving them the size and length that is so disruptive. Does a great job of really setting the tone for their defense and getting tips, deflections.
Janiyah McKay out of the game, back on the bench for the Auburn Tigers. Again, has the 3 personal fouls, and Coco Knight on the bench for the Tide. So the double team there, Jordan Lewis, and that's what it created, a turnover.
Got a little too close to the sideline that time, Jordan did, and then forced herself into a tough pass. And, you know, it also looks like so misleading because, you know, you would look at that play and say, well, that was kind of an unforced turnover there. Jordan just made a bad pass, but that is really a byproduct of this defense. That's exactly what Auburn wanted her to do. Get over to one side, get the ball out of the middle of the floor.
Jessica Jones to her sister.
Oh, I love it.
Great conversion, Jones to Jones.
Twin to twin right there.
Back to the press. Just harassing this Alabama offense. Trying to break the press here. You see the quick double team again of Jordan Lewis. He's going to force him to set up deep into the shot clock.
Alabama has, if they can score this right here and get the shot that they want, they've got a chance to end this quarter with in a 2-for-1 situation, get a stop, and then get it back. That is not the shot that they wanted, Melissa.
Very deep into the shot clock. Give the credit to the Auburn defense there. Alabama trying hard to find an opening, to find that shot, and just could not get the ball off in time.
They'll get another chance, though, with 34 seconds. And obviously, Janiyah back on the floor at the helm, if you will, for the Auburn Tigers. That definitely makes them confident. They've got all their best scorers on the floor right now. They would love to be able to finish out this quarter right here, score, either tie it up or go up one, and then come back down and put an exclamation point on the quarter by getting a defensive stop.
About a 3-second differential on the game clock and shot clock here. So we wind down the third quarter of action. Deja Alexander fires, hits pay dirt.
Are you kidding me, Deja? She is shooting lights out today.
Deja Alexander has knocked down 5 triples here today. That's a kid that is a 29% shooter from 3, and that won't fall for Hannah Cook. The putback, not there for the Crimson Tide.
We've got a foul.
But a foul is called.
It was a good call right there at the end. Again, I have a feeling of what Terry is going to sleep. Alabama's hoping she steps up and goes 2 for 2, but with 0.6 left on the clock, even if she were to miss that second free throw, there is enough time for a tip-in. So Auburn still needs to box out hard here on this second free throw. Don't allow any more offensive rebounds, especially in this scenario. And by this scenario, I mean from the free throw line.
Right now, Alabama 17 of 19 from the free throw line, shooting 89% there today. 16 personal fouls by the Auburn Tigers. We had 9 in the first quarter of play.
A lot. We can just say there were a lot.
It was a lot. And it never really allowed the teams to get into the flow offensively or defensively. Now the 0.6 seconds, see what happens here on the free throw. And Wade gets it to fall.
And no play here to end the quarter. Just a little bit of fuel to the fire, I believe. And Coach Flo's talk on the bench here in between quarters.
So Christy Curry for Alabama pulled down a rebound here in the second half of play.
Yeah, you know, and you really have to give Alabama credit for that as well. You know, I don't think that you just go, wow, what's wrong with Unique? Is she not playing well? You have a great coaching staff down the sideline who made adjustments at halftime, who, you know, said, you know, here's a specific challenge. Let's do a better job with this player. And clearly the Alabama players have answered that challenge. The other thing, though, that has really, really become a factor, and it's only a 1-point lead, but I'm going to tell you what, Alabama is dominating the rebounding game. 19 offensive rebounds. Asha Williams has 4. Shaq Wade has 5. It's really been impressive.
6 ties, 10 lead changes in this one. And there's that transition offense. Auburn does so well.
Jasmine Jones now above her average with 9 points, but credit Janiyah McKay for the attack, drawing the defense, and then the nice assisted transition basket.
Ashley Knight all alone underneath on that block. The sophomore made it look easy.
She did, and one of the reasons she made it look easy is because Hannah Cook gave it to her right on the money. Really good fundamental basketball right there. Great passing, high to low. Ashley kept it high, didn't bring it down, and finished all very controlled. Wow. It's a tough foul right there. It's a great double team. We talked about that in the first half, that Alabama did that very effectively versus Tennessee. And that's the second foul they've had, double teaming the block, in particular when it was in Unique's hands.
So you see Unique working here. Cook picks up her second foul. She's really had a tough go here in the second half of action. And you got to credit the Alabama defense for that.
You do. You definitely do.
McKay is fouled.
Yeah, watch number 33 in pink. I think she's just a little bit fired up, Melissa. I think she's ready to play a player that routinely goes out and leads her team in scoring. Is not very often sitting on the bench with foul trouble. Is not very often sitting on the bench for any reason. I think she's really hungry going into this fourth quarter to really step up and be exactly what her team needs in the absence of her scoring in the first half.
She's just a baller for this team. And as you mentioned, leads the team in scoring with 16 points per game, trying to add to that cause here and really trying to help her team out in any way possible. I mean, if that means giving it to the hot hand Deja Alexander and you know, improving your assist numbers, then she'll get it done.
No question. She's going to do whatever it takes to win. But I don't know that there's anybody on the floor that doesn't fit into that category, especially in this type of a ball game.
Sure.
They're all going to lay it on the line, whether that's defense, offense, rebounding.
And great hustle play. Ashley Williams, one of the 6 seniors for the Tide, honored today, trying to help the cause, and she does.
That's Jordan. We already have talked about her shooting and percentage-wise that she's really up there, but that play right there is what Jordan does best. She really attacks. She can take contact. She's really strong and balanced. And if you let her attack from the right-hand side in particular, she's going to take advantage.
And Alexander taking advantage. She is having a game.
She is. We need to check and see what Deja's career high is, because I think that if she hasn't already exceeded it, she's got to be knocking on the door.
She's got 19 points so far.
Getting the ball in the middle of the floor right there. Again, versus that zone, we talked about it. Those penetrating passes to the SEC logo, to the elbow right there, and especially when you're passing the ball into the middle of that zone into Ashley Williams' hands, good things are going to happen for Alabama.
7:40 remaining in this rivalry matchup. Alexander again, the hot hand, gets it to fall. She can do no wrong offensively for the Tigers.
I have a good idea of what Auburn should do offensively the rest of the game. Let's give it to Deja. Let's find a way to get her a little bit of space so she can see the rim.
And on the other end, you leave Knight wide open. The and one.
That's a little bit of what we talked about in the first half. Alabama got the ball across half court versus the press, but then kept looking forward. They kept looking at the basket. They didn't pass it backwards. Cook, who's a bigger guard, kind of seeing over the top of the trap there with Unique and Janiyah, and finding Ashley right underneath the basket, doing exactly what Ashley Knight's supposed to do right underneath the basket. Catch it, keep it high, take your time, and finish, and getting a good old-fashioned answer.
It's down the free throws, 66% free throw shooter to convert the three-point play. It's Alabama with a 2-point lead. You saw the little note down there. Had quite a few lead changes. Back and forth we have gone. 18 lead changes between these two in-state rivals. 9 seconds on the shot clock. Ball in the hands of McKay. It's where you want it if you're Coach Flo, and she is denied.
Good defense that time by Alabama. I thought they did a great job of following scouting report there. They forced Janiyah into the type of shot that they wanted her to take. Off the bounce, contested, great verticality there. No one got overzealous and left their feet and tried to block it. But now they got to break the press again. Something that we talked about. You kind of would rather, and that's why you hate playing against the press.
Alexander, you see it, give the ball to the hot hand, misses the layup. Ball rolls out of bounds, but will stay here on this end with the Tigers.
There is a lot of effort being exerted on both ends of the floor in each one of these 30-second possessions. This is so fun to watch. I think this is a great SEC matchup, but it's also great rivalry basketball as well.
When we talk about this game between these two teams, it doesn't matter what the sport is, doesn't matter what the records are. You're going to see a good ball game. And it might not have looked pretty at times in this game, but it's been close. They gave us at least what we expected.
There's no doubt about it. Passionate group of fans here. A lot of people here to honor the seniors, but a lot of folks here just because Alabama and Auburn are playing.
There's a fight for the rebound. That was Jessica Jones hitting the deck. Foul will be assessed to Williams. That is her second. 6:19 remaining in the fourth. Back and forth game.
Giving Deja a little bit of a break right there. Definitely want her to stay with her tank full. We've seen what she's capable of at full capacity, and I think Coach Flo knows this one's going to come down to the wire, and they want her to the best of her.
She's played 32 minutes so far, getting a quick breather.
There's the double team again on the block.
Cook going all the way and one.
What a great sequence that was right there for Alabama. That is an experienced team. They execute their defensive game plan perfectly on the one end. It turns into a turnover, and you get transition offense on the other end, and then a fantastic finish right here by Hannah Cook, handling the ball, just splits those defenders, goes up and finishes with her left hand, and then the motion. I mean, how excited is Hannah Cook right there to be stepping up to the free throw line to complete this three-point play.
4-point lead for Alabama, a team that is confident right now, coming off a huge victory of 11th ranked Tennessee on Thursday night. First victory in Thompson Bowling Arena for the Crimson Tide in program history. Fourth straight win over Tennessee, trying to pick one up here today over their top rival, the Auburn Tigers. And they're going to try to keep that foot on the accelerator with under 6 minutes remaining here in this game. Loose ball.
There's the double team again.
First jump ball of the ball game.
Surprising. It's really surprising. Actually, it's not 100% surprising. A lot of those that we expected to be jump balls, unfortunately, have been fouls in this ball game. But again, when Unique puts it on the floor, that gives those Alabama defenders more time to collapse on her. Ashley Knight does a great job of staying between her and the basket and just bellies up, hands straight up. I think Unique has got to make a quick move with the basketball. There's not going to be enough time and space for her to dribble into her moves in the paint.
Go inside, the kick out to Jones. 1 second on the shot clock, and that is a shot clock violation. Janiah McKay just lost sight of how many seconds were remaining on the shot clock. She was still dribbling head down.
That was a tough offensive possession for Auburn. Unique did a good job of drawing more than one defender, and she kicked it out, but she kicked it out to Jones, and Jones is having a better offensive night than what she usually does, but she's not someone who is going to look to pull the trigger at the end of the shot clock.
13th turnover for Auburn, 18 turnovers for Alabama. Almost another there.
Need to get it off the sideline. There you go. Get it back in the middle of the floor. Good things have happened for Alabama when they've done that.
Baseline Williams with a one-hander as time was winding down on that shot clock.
And you see Christy Curry egging the fans on, trying to get the Crimson Tide faithful really going and create that home court advantage.
She made no bones about it before the game, Coach. She said, we have got to win this game.
No question. No question. Great energy in the building right now. Their seniors are playing well. Hannah Cook, Ashley Williams. Everybody's getting fired up.
Wraps up in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Melissa Lee alongside Amanda Butler. And Alabama perfect so far in this quarter from the floor.
Yeah, 6 of 6, and Auburn not matching that, only 3 of 6. But I tell you, when you look at the stats over the entire ball game, 20 of Alabama's points have come from the free throw line. 16 of their points have come in the form of second chance points. Those are both areas that Auburn has control over.
Anna Cook with a steal, trying to convert. High off the glass, Williams the trail, and puts down the deuce.
Make that 18 second chance points. So now they have missed 1 field goal this quarter, but again, rewarded with the second chance effort right there.
That's a three-pointer on the way, and a surprise three from Amari Jones. First one here for her today, but I'll tell you, she hit a couple against the Tide back in January.
She did. She was a difference maker from the three-point line in that first matchup, and they need a difference maker right now. They need something to shift this momentum back in their direction because it's all Alabama right now.
So Lewis knowing where her team is right now, with the lead, trying to milk some time off the clock. They go high hands tonight in the paint, out of bounds, and it will stay on this end.
You know, it's really difficult to lob from the wing. And I think if Hannah Cook had that opportunity back, she might choose a different way to enter the ball into Ashley Knight. It just gives the backside defenders of Auburn's zone a chance to get in there and get a hand on it, get a tip, get a deflection, all the things that give them energy.
6 seconds, 5 seconds on the shot clock. Cook from way downtown.
So it's been a game of runs, and we addressed it just a second ago. Alabama went on theirs.
Hannah Cook hits the deck. A foul was called. I think Auburn was looking for a travel perhaps there. But that's the second time Janiah McKay is trying to go strong through the trees and has been denied.
Yeah, you really have to give Alabama a lot of credit for the level of discipline they're playing defense with in the paint. When Janiah's coming in there, they're trying to just stay between her and the basket, arms up, and if there is a deficit to Janiah's game, it's one she can do nothing about, and it's her size.
Yeah. And
so Alabama's doing a really good job of trying to make her look like a small guard when she goes into the paint trying to score.
McKay, all of 5'6", going up against players like Ashley Knight, 6'5".
I think Alabama's got to keep the ball in the hands of the players that they really want to control their half-court offense. Obviously, that's Jordan Jones. Ashley and Hannah both have been critical, and right on cue, Hannah Cook from the corner, that corner three.
Christy Curry, she knows what's on the line here, getting her fans off their feet, trying to carry this momentum onto a victory and keep the momentum going in the final games of this regular season and build that postseason resume. Williams.
Yeah, great energy in this building right now. Coach Curry has a serious look on her face. Have gone in your way. You've got to be exactly where you are in that moment. And I think her seniors in particular in this fourth quarter have really embodied that. They have kind of been the separating factor. Ashley Williams has been making plays. We keep talking about those multiple efforts on the boards. I think they've done a better job as a passing unit, getting the ball to the middle of the floor, and then that's opened up different opportunities for them.
And down the stretch here, Alabama 13 for 3 in the last 4.5 minutes of play. It has really been all Alabama here in the later going, swinging the momentum to the home team. And remember last year between these two teams, they split, but on each other's home court.
Right.
And now this time it may go the opposite way. Auburn won, of course, earlier in Auburn. And Alabama trying to win a pivotal matchup here tonight.
No question. This is definitely a win they've got to have to keep those NCAA tournament hopes alive. And clearly they know that. They sense that. Very clearly, these seniors are doing a good job of having the right conversations in the locker room with their younger players about what every game means, and really even every possession. When it gets down to this part of the season, this is possession basketball. Another area that is really impressive about Alabama, I remember in the first matchup, we talked a lot to Coach Curry at their shoot-around the first go-round about how they were not playing well in the fourth quarter.
Right.
And that has changed. Indication at Tennessee, and then certainly this fourth quarter also has been one that has been controlled by them. So whatever they started doing differently to correct that problem, it has made a big difference. Now, that was a smart play right there by Janiah McKay. Not forcing it, not trying to shoot over the bigs, but recognizing if there's a big in front of me, then that opposite block is open, and making a great pass right there to Unique.
Cook is bumped by Janiah McKay. That is 5. Her 5th foul.
That's tough. That's a tough break right there for Auburn. But it has been an uncharacteristic tough night for Janiah McKay, and the fouls have really been hard for her to get anything going.
So that is a day for Janiah McKay, who is going to head to the bench with her 5th foul, 8 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists here today. For those of you who are tuning in to see the SEC Swimming and Diving Championships, we will join that as soon as we are finished here in Tuscaloosa. You can see the start of it now on the SEC Alternate Network and the ESPN app, so you won't miss a moment there. in College Station, Texas. 1:49 remaining in the game. And all the momentum late in this fourth quarter going the way of the Alabama Crimson Tide.
They just continue to rack up points at the free throw line, too. You know, that was the 23rd point from the free throw line, and I was so ready to say the 24th, but she missed it. But still, fouling has been definitely a storyline in what we've witnessed here today.
21 personal fouls by the Auburn Tigers.
That's a lot.
Alabama, on the flip side, though, has taken care of business, staying steady, I should say, at 90% from the free throw line here today.
That's solid. That's really solid.
And over the last 3 games now, shooting over 80% from the free throw line.
Again,
Thompson, ball is straight.
The double team, whenever Unique is going in there and dribbling, Alabama's making her pay. Again, credit Deja for the extra effort, the hustle. And I think she knows she's got to make plays. She's got to score points if Auburn has a chance of pulling off something special right here in the last minute 15.
Ashley Williams fouled by Jones. 1:15 remaining. As you see there, coming up next, 2018 SEC Swimming and Diving Championships out of College Station, Texas. 10-point lead right now for the Alabama Crimson Tide. And a game that has gone back and forth. And Hannah Cook is holding that hand awkwardly right now. And you start to see some concern and maybe some tears on her face with the reaction.
Yeah, she seems a little bit shaken, and she is holding it awkwardly. Hopefully nothing too serious. But you never like to see someone who's leaving the floor for that reason.
Well, she put in some work today. 14 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. Played 36 minutes for the Crimson Tide. Had a much better game here today against Auburn than she did back in January. And we certainly hope that that is nothing serious for the senior. But she delivered on senior day nonetheless.
She did. She played like a senior. A great deal of composure. A lot of the right things. A lot of the things clearly that they had covered in their game plan and on their scouting report. And definitely don't like to see her sitting on the end of the bench with the trainers right now. That's not the way we want to see this game end.
Williams at the free throw line for Alabama now. Largest lead now of the game for the Crimson Tide. And that is an upset Hannah Cook, who's still being tended to by the athletic trainers. Certainly not a good sign for Alabama. Sort of taking the wind out of the sails of all this momentum.
It definitely does. And again, we've talked about Alabama seniors. Injuries and unforeseen things are always going to occur. And when you have a team full of seniors, then you expect the seniors then to step up and step in and take over the moment. And I think that's what you've seen out of Ashley.
Just jam it? That looks like it may have been what happened.
I had a similar injury in my career, and it doesn't look like much, but I tell you, when you tweak that thumb,
sure.
It is not pleasant. And so definitely, hopefully something that, is serious enough to get her off the floor, but also something that she can rub a little dirt on it and be ready to go against Georgia.
And
that's what I think.
That's how you play, right?
That's
when you're from
right.
Tennessee, right, Coach?
You rub a little dirt on it. Hey, there's ball games to be played, and there's a lot at stake. And I'm going to tell you what, Hannah knows that. She's played with a sense of urgency today. And I would be really surprised if she let anything keep her from the remainder of this season, no matter what that looks like for them.
Jordan Lewis fires off a three-pointer. And we are ending this game as we started this game with several fouls on the floor. And she's got the ice now, so you have to hope that it's not upset for anything other than just pain right now. And nothing serious, nothing that she may feel like, she may not come back, but an injury from pain.
Yeah, as I said, having experienced it myself, it's your thumbs are really sensitive in there, and just about everything that you do with your hands. However, I bet that this win is going to take a little sting out of that. No matter what she's experiencing right now, this crowd, this outcome, that makes it hurt just a little bit less.
Well, this is an Alabama team with its eye on an NCAA tournament bid for the first time in almost 20 years. And a step closer, perhaps, to getting that with a victory they needed